national level, national shows. So we're talking ESPN, Extra, Entertainment Tonight, TMZ, the CBS Evening News, whatever you have. Let's say there are in total, nationally, 25 shows. Let's add cable. I'll even give you 50. And of those who want to be anchors, raise your hand again for me. So of those 50 shows, there are probably, including weekends, 30 anchor chairs, right? Which means that you are competing against all of the people who go to school for this in every avenue of this country, in every state in this country. And of those chairs, most people, once they get them, sit in them for 20 or so years. So there's not a lot of turnover. So here's the reality. The people that want to be anchors, the people that want to be reporters, raise your hands again. Just reporters, raise your hand. All right, now, you want to get on it, keep them raised, keep them raised. You want to get on a national show. Watch this. Sit, 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 sit. 1, 2, 3. 3 of you may have gotten a look by a network. Maybe. Maybe. Now, network looks at you, they don't like you, sit, and they don't like you, sit. Yeah, sit. Wasn't nothing personal, baby, they just didn't like you. So, if you think about it, 1 in this number, and that's not even being truthful, because it's 1 in a far greater number. But just look around. So, you got the job. But, do you keep the job? That's the question. And, here's a reality for minorities. You got the job because I just happen to need a black woman. But really, I'm looking at Hispanic women more often than not now. Or Asian women more often than not, because you all, black folk, passe now. I need another minority. You all aren't in favor. You anchors, I'm going to sit you down in just a moment. Stay up. Anchor chair. Ooh, Brian Williams got booted. Chair is open. There's Lester Holt. Lester, come on, because I'm not looking at y'all. So sit, sit, sit. You got hired in New York. Sit, sit, sit. Uh-oh. Buddy of mine, Stuart Scott, passed away, so you get to stay up for a minute. Sit, sit, sit. You got hired in New York at the New York flagship station. But you know what? We like Lester Holt. Lester just got there. You are how old now? You don't know?
22, 23.
22 or 23?
Yeah.
How old are you, girl?
20.
What the hell? You done went from 20 to 23 in a 30-second span. Let me see your life. No, I mean 3 days from now. 19! Okay, see? This is Brian Williams, so you just got fired today. So my man is left standing. All right? Thank you, brother. Have a seat. You get my point? How difficult it is to even find these jobs? Because if she hadn't been Brian Williams and we hired her, the fact that Lester Holt just sat there, she might be, well, in your case, it would have either been 39 by the time she even got a shot at that chair if he just sat in it. So it's difficult. There are a lot of areas like that are difficult to get into. The competition is fierce. So when you're sitting around really thinking about your life and thinking about what you're putting into your life and into your career and into your success, think about how difficult it is. And look, there are a lot of people that just want a job. They don't want a career. They just want to get paid every 2 weeks. They want to be able to pay the cable bill, get a car, and vacation once or twice a year. And if that's all you want, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But if you want a career, and if you want a career in a competitive space, and you think that you can just kind of chill and get through there, save yourself some time and grief, save yourself some money, and aggravation and go do something else. If you want to get into a competitive space, then get into it and jump in it. And jump in it like you belong and play the game. Last thing before I kind of get to the questions, and again, anything on TV or whatever, we can talk about. And I do want to talk about TV and diversity in just a second, so please remind me of that. But I just talked about presentation. And I have to, the majority of this audience is African American, but I say this in particular to us, but young people in general. Look, your generation is no different than any other generation that's come along in certain instances. You all are obviously more tech savvy. Hell, we didn't have this stuff. And I laugh when my daughter snatches the phone from me after I've struggled to try to get an app open or something. She's like, Daddy, please give me that. And she's sick of me, so she said, here, let's open. And like, I used to think, my mother could never figure out how to program the doggone VCR. Y'all know what a VCR is? So my mother said, I go, Mama, just hit when it comes on, and if you can't reprogram, just hit the red button. I don't, which red button? The only one there, Mom, the only one there. And now I've turned into my mother because I'm like, baby, can you open this for Daddy, please? So you all aren't much different. Maybe a bit more entrepreneurial in your spirit, some of you. But on the whole, each generation thinks they get it. And they have the key and the old folks don't know. Some of that is true, most of it is not. Most of it is you don't know. You think you do. You think you have it right. You think you have the better way, but you don't. Time and memoriam has proven that. But I never try to convince young people of that because you can't know that you don't know. Life will teach you harshly sometimes that you don't know. So if you're smart at your age, know that you don't know everything. Be as innovative, as aggressive as you want to be, but also be smart about it. And know that you can learn, and there are things to learn. Find people you believe in that can teach you. Also learn from people that don't do it the right way. I know you all have some friends that are up here in this university that aren't doing a thing. Some of you in here are that friend. Okay? Let's be real. So what I say is, you can sometimes use a bad example to further yourself. If you have a roommate, listen, my roommate in college, he and I grew up together. So I didn't have the experience of meeting a roommate that I didn't know. Mark and I knew each other since first grade. I never got high. In my life, I've never gotten high. But I've been around bunches of folk that got high, right? This is how it went down. Mark would wake up getting high. And people would say, how do you all live together? I go, that's Mark. Mark won't get high, that's on Mark. 7 o'clock every morning, I'd hear this. I would not need an alarm clock, I'd hear this. That bomb would be going at 7 in the morning. I never got high. People could not believe we lived together. And I was like, hey, I'm not here to judge Mark. That's Mark. Mark's doing what he's... I knew Mark wasn't doing what he should be doing, though, because he'd be high sometimes and not getting that work. And we came at the same time, but did not graduate at the same time. And I would sometimes say to Mark, Mark, come on, Doc. Finals time, man. Let's do this. Be there in a minute, Ed. He paid that consequence. Now Mark has gone on, he got a career, I know where he is, it's cool. But it took him longer to get out of school. We have some buddies that never got out of school. I used them as examples of what I did not want to do. I didn't cast any judgment. Some of them are friends of mine to this day. But I knew that's not what I want for me. Also, even those who aren't doing right can help you out sometime. So I went to Western Michigan University in Kalamazoo, Michigan. Small amount of black folk in the school. Not tiny, but wasn't a whole bunch of us. So we lived on a floor. Mark and I were the only two black guys on the floor. There was one sister on the floor. So one day we're sitting around, and it's just guys in the room. And I know, okay, I'm about to tell on, I'm going to be Steve Harvey, I'm about to tell on the men today. So we're sitting around, we were rating the women on the floor, because we had a co-ed floor, right? He says, 1 to 10, we're going to give, the women 1 to 10. So they all getting high and drunk. So before we get in the middle of it, they go, Ed, man, don't you never get high. Never, never, never. Never do you get high, man. In the beginning, they were trying to get me high. Ed, hit this. And I go, no, man, it's cool. I don't do it. Come on, man, just hit it. Just hit the blunt. I don't do it. By the middle of the semester, don't you ever get high, man. You are man, don't you ever get high. Because they saw somebody that in their head was doing the right thing as far as they could see in terms of how people, particularly back then, viewed weed. But they were like, man, don't you? They was almost like living with 30 parents with you. But they even saw, so sometimes the people who are trying to lead you astray, if you continue to be right, will get in your corner. Just stay true to who you are. Also know that sometimes your enemies aren't always your enemies, and your friends aren't what? Always your friends. Same floor. We had suites. We shared a bathroom. So Mark and I were in one suite, 2 white guys from northern Michigan in another suite. We were all cool, we'd go eat with them, floor was real tight. Sitting around one day with all the white guys, Mark and I, older brothers, and they said, when we were rating the girls, all right, I'm about to use the N-word, any little kids? Forgive me if you find it offensive, I'm only repeating it for sake of. So they said, what about Cindy? Now Cindy was politically well endowed. So all the guys were like crazy about Cindy. They're like, what about Cindy? Oh,